Donald Trump has always thrived in controversy, but in 2025, the turbulence surrounding him has reached new levels. From a $500 million fraud penalty being thrown out, to deploying armed National Guard units in Washington, to attacks on media giants and cultural institutions, Trump is once again reshaping the American conversation. Supporters say he's delivering justice and restoring law and order. Critics say he's undermining democracy, attacking free speech, and fueling division. In this video, we break down Donald Trump's latest controversies of 2025 in detail and explore why he remains the most polarizing figure in the world today. Trump's $500 million fraud case overturned. One of the biggest stories of 2025 came out of New York. A state appeals court threw out the massive $500 million civil fraud penalty against Donald Trump. To understand the significance, let's step back. In 2023, New York Attorney General Letitia James pursued a fraud case against Trump, arguing that he exaggerated the value of his assets to secure better loans and deals. The trial judge agreed and handed Trump a historic penalty, more than $500 million, alongside restrictions preventing him from serving as a corporate officer or securing loans in New York. Trump blasted the case as a political witch hunt, but the penalty stood for nearly 2 years, until now. In August 2025, the appeals court ruled the fine was excessive under the Eighth Amendment, which prohibits disproportionate financial punishments. While the finding of fraud was upheld, the $500 million penalty was erased. Trump declared victory, claiming it proved the case was politically motivated. But here's the catch. The restrictions remain. Trump is still banned for 3 years from leading corporations or securing loans in New York. Meanwhile, Attorney General James has vowed to appeal the appeals court ruling. So what does this mean? For Trump, it's a legal and political win. It reinforces his narrative of being unfairly targeted, but always coming out on top. For his critics, it shows the courts are still holding him accountable, even if the financial punishment was deemed too harsh. Keywords exploding around this case include Trump fraud, fine overturned, a $500 million penalty, a Letitia James appeal, and a Trump business ban. Aw. The idea is to weaponize lawsuits and legal claims against political opponents. One example making headlines is Trump's alleged targeting of Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook with mortgage fraud allegations. Critics argue these claims are politically motivated and designed to damage reputations rather than deliver justice. To his supporters, this is payback. They believe Democrats and liberal prosecutors have used the justice system against Trump for years, from the Russia investigation to his indictments. Now they say Trump is simply turning the tables. To his critics, this is a dangerous abuse of power, turning the legal system into a political weapon. This controversy feeds into a larger narrative. Trump is both the victim of lawfare and the wielder of it. The keyword lawfare has now become central in conversations about American politics in 2025. Armed troops on U.S. streets. Perhaps the most alarming development of 2025 has been Trump's decision to arm National Guard units in Washington, D.C. While National Guard deployments are not unusual, allowing them to carry firearms in the nation's capital marks a significant escalation. The Trump administration claims this is necessary to restore order amid rising crime and threats. But critics see it as something far more troubling, an attempt to militarize civilian spaces and send a chilling message to political opponents. Reports also suggest Trump is preparing to extend these armed deployments to cities like Chicago and Baltimore, both of which have resisted federal intervention in the past. Local leaders, including governors and mayors, have vowed to challenge these moves legally. Civil liberties groups warn this could set a precedent for using federal troops against political dissent. For many, the key word here is authoritarian. Supporters argue it's about law and order. Opponents argue it's about intimidation and control. Crooked ABC and NBC Donald Trump has always had a combative relationship with the press, but in 2025, he escalated that battle once again. In a late-night truth social rant, Trump attacked ABC and NBC, calling them a crooked, labeling them a threat to democracy, and even demanding that their FCC licenses be revoked. He singled out journalist Jonathan Karl, who has often been critical of Trump, and even suggested imposing higher licensing fees to punish networks that oppose him. This move is controversial on multiple fronts. It plays into Trump's long-running war against what he calls a fake news media. It raises constitutional questions about the First Amendment and press freedom, and it energizes his base, who often see mainstream media as biased against him. Keywords dominating this controversy include Trump and press freedom under attack. Attacking the Smithsonian. Finally, Trump waded into cultural controversy by attacking the Smithsonian Institution. Specifically, he criticized museum exhibits focusing on the history of slavery, calling them out of control and awoke. His remarks sparked a backlash, with figures like tennis legend Martina Navratilova calling him as racist as always. By targeting the Smithsonian, one of the nation's most respected cultural bodies, Trump is again signaling to his supporters that he's willing to take on what he calls the woke elite. But critics argue that downplaying the history of slavery is a form of historical erasure that fuels division, racism. Keywords here include a Trump-Smithsonian slavery, a Trump woke culture war, and a Trump racist comments 2025. Why 2025 matters taken together, these controversies paint a picture of Trump in 2025 as a legal fighter, overturning massive fines while still facing restrictions. A political warrior, accused of using lawfare against opponents, a strongman leader, deploying armed troops in U.S. cities, a media combatant, threatening networks and journalists, a culture warrior, attacking institutions he sees as too awoke. Each controversy feeds into the larger themes of Trump's career, conflict, division, and control of the narrative. Supporters see him as the only leader willing to fight corruption, crime, and political enemies. Critics see him as a growing threat to democracy, civil liberties, and truth itself. And as the 2024 election aftermath continues into 2025, Trump remains not just a former president, but an active player reshaping America's political and cultural landscape. Donald Trump thrives in the spotlight of controversy. From overturned fraud cases to armed troops in the streets, from raging at the media to rewriting history, every move he makes sparks outrage, debate, and headlines. The question isn't whether Donald Trump is controversial. The question is, what kind of America is being shaped by these controversies? Is it one where law and order is restored, or one where democracy itself is under siege? That answer may define the future of the United States for years to come.